Everybody ready? Ready. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order for Monday, July the 17th. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll have a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. First on the agenda is the approval of the agenda as written. I don't know of any changes to the agenda.
Just the addition of the recess to DSS for the facility
And that would come,
at the end of your meeting.
okay. We will have a small recess.
Right. Mr. Chairman, I request that we remove the TDA annual report and also the Fire Commission resolution from the agenda. We have in the past repeatedly asked that we have any documents that are going to be submitted in time so that we can review them. We don't have either one of those reports. And I would like to remove it from the agenda and place it on the mid-month agenda for August.
So you want to remove item number 2 to the presentation to the board?
That would be, yes.
And just that?
No. Also, under D, general business, the Fire Commission resolution, we don't have a copy of that to review either, to see if the changes were made.
Okay, that will take
I'll second
Take a
it.
unanimous vote, I'm aware.
that will take a vote by the board. It'll have to be unanimous.
Yes.
All those in favor of removing those, Greg, do you have a comment?
No.
All those in favor of removing those 2 items, please raise your hand. Carries 5-0. 2 items to be removed, Mr. Oh, you might.
I'm sorry.
There you go. Okay, with those 2 items being removed, I need a motion to accept the
So
agenda
moved.
as amended. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, raise your hand.
That was with the recess to DSS.
With the recess,
Okay.
yes. You're doing the,
Yeah,
we have a new assistant today, so we're going to give her a few extra seconds to get caught up with everything.
She's multitasking.
I'm sure everybody knows Drew's out. She had her baby a little over 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks and 4 days, and everybody's doing fine. And April has graciously accepted this additional role for a few weeks. Okay. E3. I need a motion to approve the minutes, pages 3 through 7. We've had our packets for several days.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the minutes as written. All those in favor, raise your hand.
Sherwin.
Maybe it'll help out April if we speak up a little bit louder when we do a motion in a second. Okay, we have public comments now. And I believe that there are several people to address today. I would remind you that we do have a clock. Is that going to be running today?
I think you're going to be controlling that today, Mr. Chairman.
I'll go ahead and keep the time here. Everybody, you will have 3 minutes to speak. And I please just ask everybody, we're a small community, and let's just be as civil as possible. And when it hits 2:45, I'll sort of raise my hand so you'll know that you've got 15 seconds left. When you come to the podium, if you'd state your name and where or the area that you live in. So, Mr. Carter, I believe you have the list of people that have signed up to speak, and after these people have spoken, if there's anybody else has anything to say, they're more than welcome. Mr. Carter?
Okay, so I believe we have 4 that have signed up today. So I believe the first one is Larry Myers.
Good morning.
Morning.
I welcome the opportunity to update you on the activities of the Solid Rock Food Closet. We are a 501c3 serving the residents of Alleghany County. We have a paid staff of 4, 3 of which are funded directly by the Food Closet. The 4th is funded out of the Winston-Salem Urban League as a function of training for senior citizens and upward mobility. We serve 3 areas to look at today are our food sources, the adults that we serve, and the children we serve. Our primary source of food is Second Harvest Food Bank out of Winston-Salem. They supply us food on a weekly basis, typically 3,000 to 4,000 pounds. Once a month we get a bonus, if you will, from the federal government known as TFAP. That's an acronym for the Emergency Food Assistance Program. Historically, we would get 8,000 to 10,000 pounds of food on the 3rd Wednesday of each month. Since the pandemic, that has dropped to between 3,000 and 5,000 pounds a month. Historically, we would get food that's known as either salvage and or food drive, which is randomly collected around the communities in Winston-Salem. We would get 36 banana boxes, the size of a banana box, each Wednesday. That has been reduced to 9 weekly. Needless to say, that places a challenge upon us. We were grateful, though, to receive an unexpected donation of 5,700 pounds of food, which has helped greatly. And for the near term, we are in good shape. For the future, we will be facing challenges. For the folks that we feed here in Alleghany County, the poverty level for adults, according to the Department of Social Services, is 1,990 people. The poverty level for children, 565 people. The folks that we have served over the years, our busiest year since 2019, we served 194,000 meals for the calendar year. Our 3 busiest months were July of 2020, August of 2020, and July of 2022, when we fed a little over 1,000 people each month. This year, 2023, we've had 2 months, May and June, where we've served over 900 people. To date, we have served 88,000 meals. That's a projected target of 180,000 meals for the calendar year. For our children that we serve, numbers from the Department of Social Services, as of July 22, we had 475 children in need. Yes, sir.
Got 15 seconds.
Thank you, sir. 19% increase for children. For the summer backpack program, a 69% increase in utilization. For the school backpack program, a 13% increase. The need is there, the challenge is there, we welcome it, and we thank you for your support. Good morning and have a great day.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Those are some staggering numbers. Mr. Carter.
Next individual is Mr. Greg Walker.
I'm here as a citizen right now. The people in Glade Creek are upset. We had a tornado warning the other night. I'm glad nothing happened in the tornado, but our fire department was in Galax when it was all put on standby. They want the tax money to stay in the Glade Creek community, not Galax, not Virginia. I had about 20 calls Saturday night. I just want to let this be brought to attention to the county.
Thank you.
Next individual is David Higgins.
Hello, I'm David Higgins with the Glade Creek Fire Department. And what Mr. Walker says, partly true, partly not. We did go get that standby. But if he would have stopped at the firehouse, and even in his picture, it shows fire trucks sitting in the building. We had firemen sitting in the station. Area was covered. At no time is it left. So, but I did have a problem. Now y'all got a problem. We're tired of it. We're not putting up with it any longer. You all knew when he called the mayor of Galax, having that little hissy on him. You've been told about it. He even got up publicly telling about the county manager's anatomy. Who cares about his anatomy? I don't. I mean, not once but twice at that one meeting he got up and told about that. I mean, this stuff is out of hand. He's out of hand. My firemen's got scared of him. I talked to Shane Glenn a while ago. We're going to have police protection at our meetings anymore, and our training. That's a shame. A fire department has to get the sheriff's department to come out. But they're going to come out, and it's done, folks. It's over. It's up to you all to take some action. We've talked to you, so now we're going to get the sheriff's department involved. We're going to a lawyer. We're going to stop it. Nobody even voted for him to be fire commissioner. You shoved him in us anyway. Go to the next chiefs council meeting and ask. I don't know why you all are against the fire departments and the local volunteers here in the community. It's like y'all don't want us. These boys and men and women are working hard and dedicated day in, day out. And we come up here and ask for something, and it's a blind eye every time. Why? I don't know why. I can only ask you all. Y'all the ones sitting there making the opinions. But it's up to y'all now. Y'all do something. If not, then somebody's going to have to. But it's bad when you have to get police protection to have a damn meeting. I'm going to tell you, this is out of hand. All you do, read them Facebook posts. He's all over the community, running his mouth about the fire department. He's supposed to be there to help the fire department. He is supposed to be serving the citizens of the county. He is not supposed to be condemning stuff. Putting stuff on there that we're not even protecting. Trucks sitting in the building, firemen sitting in the building, that's protection. I don't know what else you want. And they ain't getting paid. They're volunteers. If he's so worried, why didn't he stop and offer to help some of these volunteers? Say, look, y'all short-handed tonight, I'll be glad to help you. I'll do what I can. Hell, go get them some food, some coffee or something. Bring something in there to help them. Don't condemn them. Start helping folks. He's on the wrong path. I'm getting tore up now, so I'm just going to hush. But thank y'all for your time. It's time to do something, and it's up to y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next individual is Amy Bottomley.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm coming here on behalf of the Glade Creek Fire Department. They did not know I was going to show up today. I have been an elected official this was my 4th term on the school board. And I'm going to address you, Mr. Walker. You should never, ever belittle anyone on public forum in the social media background. You never do that. And I'm speaking.
Say nothing.
You should never do that. We as public officials, that's not our job. I have been in the school system for several years. I'm sure I've made other people mad. First thing I do when I make decisions is I pray about them first, and then I do what's good for the kids. There may be personal issues I have with people. I don't let that affect me. I don't know what it is with you and this fire department. I don't know. I have lived there for 22 years. I'm about 300 yards from the fire department. I have never felt safer in my life as with those people there. I'm there, I run on the road there. I'm going by there twice a day, every day except Sundays, and then I'm in church with Mr. Higgins. But I'm going to tell you, they're there. There's always someone there cleaning the equipment. There's someone there at the building. If there's not, they're there within 2 minutes. Our community appreciates this fire department. They volunteer, and I think it's very wrong of you to get on social media and belittle people. I think as a board, you should consider this. I know you have done it before to Mr. Irwin over there, and you've taken things from him. And I would consider what you could do. I don't know, you can check with your lawyers, you can do whatever, but having him removed from this seat. You do not belong here. You cannot personally attack people in our community, and especially people that are volunteers. And I think you owe our community an apology. Not once on Saturday did we feel unsafe. Not once did we feel like something was going to happen. Those people take their time and go help other people. Just because it's across the state line, they're helping. You have to be kind, Mr. Walker. This is not someone, I'm speaking to you personally. We get one life, and that's it.
15 seconds.
And I'm telling you, be kind to other people. They're out there doing their job, they're helping, they have saved lives. And for you to sit there and go through and belittle them on social media is uncalled for. And you are in my prayers.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Chairman, that's all the individuals that are signed up.
Does anybody else wish to speak during public comments? Now's your chance. State your name.
My name's Mac Rupert. I'm a board member of the Clay Creek Fire Department, and like David said, we work hard to keep our department together. We do everything we can. We scrimp, we save. Yes, we do get fire tax. We account for every dime that is there. I do not appreciate the stuff that you put on there last night, Saturday night. Had all of your little friends doing it. That's going to come to a stop. Like Amy just said, it's up to you all to correct this. If you don't, we will. We don't want to do that. We're here to protect the citizens of the county. But I take it's very, very personal what happened Saturday night. So, Greg, I wish you would think about this. What would your mother think of what you're doing? And you know that. I see her every Sunday at church. That's the only thing I've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. There's anybody else wish to speak? Now's your time. Hearing none and seeing none, I will go ahead and close the public comments at this time. Thank you all. The first item under Section A is a consent agenda, pages 8 through 50, and we've all had our packets for a few days, so I think we've been through these. Need a comment, motions?
Mr. Chair, I will make a motion to accept the consent agenda, sir.
I'll second.
Is that loud enough?
We've got a motion and a second. John motioned and Michelle second. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? Thank you. Motion carries 5-0. Now we go to Section B, presentation to the board, Alleghany Educational Foundation. Susan, Arlo, please come up. Melissa, whoever.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just wanted to give a little update of some things that we've got going on with the Educational Foundation that we're extremely proud of. We presented to you guys last year when we were just getting some motivation to get rolling. So I just wanted to give you a quick update.
John, you want to turn one of those lights off over there?
Sure.
So the mission of the Alleghany Educational Foundation has primarily involved giving scholarships to seniors when they're graduating, and our community is very supportive of that, and we're very proud of the ways that our community does support our seniors. But the other part of our mission statement that we have been focusing on lately, I wouldn't say focusing on, another focus would be our educational programming that helps support some things in Alleghany County schools. So I thought it might be worth, back one more maybe. That's okay. I thought it might be worth going back and talking about our roots a little bit. So in 1985, we had some volunteers that were working with the Alleghany Chamber of Commerce Community Development Committee, and they were looking for ways to encourage local youth to pursue their post-secondary education. So they started out with $5,000 as a donation from First Community Bank or First Citizens Bank, and they were about to embark on what would prove to be a pretty big future for the Alleghany Educational Foundation in ways that we could support students. So one of the programs that I was discussing earlier that we are very excited about is a program that we're calling Trojan Tracks, and it encompasses several different things, but Trojan Tracks primarily the phase that we are involved in now is we are implementing mentors for students, all students in 8th grade. And students, we give them the information and the parents the information while they are in 8th grade and give them the opportunity to opt into this program. So far, everyone's opted in. And what happens with this program is all students get a mentor. We don't identify students that we feel like might need a mentor because, in my opinion, all students can use a mentor. So they start out with these students in 8th grade. They meet with them 4 times a year during the school day for 15 minutes at a time, just kind of talking to them about their goals and if there's some connections that they might have to the community, the ways that they can get them connected, and giving them some strategies to be able to look at those goals. And then at the end, they follow those students. They're with that group in 8th grade. They transition with them to 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So they're there talking to them about these things all along the way. The goal of all of this is to for them to have some options when they graduate. You know, if they want to go into a trade school, then we've given them every opportunity to pursue things that would help them be in trade school. If they want to go to college or community college, that's something that we give them also. We also, something that we are really looking at building some capacity for is, students wanting to go into the military service. That's something, that's what some kids need to do, and that's what they want to do, and we're very happy that they do. So, even though we may not be providing scholarship money for those students, we are providing them that support, and that's something we are really, really excited about, and working with students through ASFAB and different things like that. So that's the Trojan Tracks program. Just wanted to give you our first group of mentors. We're all educators just because we got this thing rolling really quickly and they just seem to be a really easy group to train up and get their background checks and everything taken care of. So this is our first group of mentors. We are currently getting ready to train a second group of mentors who are not educators. They are from all facets of the community. And that is our goal, is to provide mentors in all different trades, and people with military backgrounds, people with that have got a lot of education, but they have just a lot of support that they can offer these students. So we've gained a lot of traction with this. Appalachian State's invited us up twice to present about this with some of their leadership and innovation ideas. So we got to go share and answer questions, and hopefully there's some other communities around us that will they're really looking to us as a model. We use Rutherford County as a model and their McNair Foundation, but we're pretty excited about being able to spread the good news. We're still supporting students with scholarships. That has increased dramatically. One thing that has increased dramatically is our renewal scholarships for students that are in college. Currently, we're trying to find ways to help them along the way as well, and that has that's something that we're focusing on. But we still give out scholarships. We invite students back for little receptions where we give out different things that might help them in their next semester. We do that in December. We go to the college signing day. That the high school's doing a fabulous job with getting students celebrating them for whatever they're going into, and we got to participate in that. I've got one little snippet here on the corner. We're trying to highlight students that are receiving renewal scholarships once a week. So those are the things that are coming up there on Facebook and Instagram. I'm just really proud of what some of our kids are out doing. Also giving out some mini grants to teachers in Alleghany County schools. They have got awesome things going on, and they are seeking out funding to help support some of the initiatives that they have in their classroom. So we were really, really fortunate. We've re-implemented this, and teachers are very proud of this as well. We did have the person that received our Price Debrick Scholarship from Blue Ridge Electric down the corner, Carly Phipps. So that is a scholarship that is supported by them. So it's kind of a neat thing. And lastly, we're just thankful. We're just thankful that we have staff in the office. We're there throughout the week, and that we are attending community events and talking to, that's the way we answer questions for people that have college questions about college or, just what they're going to do when they graduate. So we've been out for Partnership for Children. We attend the Mountain Heritage Festival. We've been talking with My Future NC a lot, that has a lot of data that we use to inform our programming, more specifically our mentor program. We go back to the back to school celebrations, and we've been talking lots of different groups in the community to figure out exactly what we need to be doing in the direction that the Ed Foundation needs to be going. So it's been a great year. It's been a little over a year. And I'm very proud of our community and their support for our students. Whenever you call and you ask someone to support students in our community, we are basically never told no. So we live in a great place, and the Ed Foundation is very thankful for that. So thank you very much for your time.
Let's have a few questions and answers.
Perfect.
If you talk about your new location.
Okay. We have a new location. It's central to the town. It is right across from Pizzeria, beside Life Store, and where Charlie's used to be there. And we are so thankful to Richard Doughton and Susan Murphy for letting us be in that space. They've been very supportive and letting us be there. But it's been great because we have, who would have thought we'd have been as busy as we've been, but we have people all day long coming in there asking for, once a person graduates and they're not in school somewhere, then they don't really know where to go to even get started. So those are some of the things that we're doing. We're having conversations with students that may not have even been recipients of our scholarships, but they need help they need to get connected. So those are some great things that we're doing. We're there for anyone that wants to come in and make a donation for a scholarship. Those are always great days when we can actually sit down and talk with donors and tell them about the things that we have going on in our community. So we're very thankful to have that spot, and we do keep regular hours, so come by and see us.
Since the inception of the Educational Foundation, do you have a number of how many scholarships over these many, many years that you all have participated in?
That's Susan's area.
So I don't have a total number, but I can tell you I recently updated our historical data. We have awarded over $3,600,000. We average awarding 86 students per year. And this year, we had a significant increase in institutions as well as students. We average about 24 different institutions that we send funds to annually. So, and this is in collaboration with, like Melissa was saying, how supportive our community is. Our community helps fund, I think it was 55%, I think was the percentage. They fund different people or organizations in the county fund on average, about 55% annually of the amount of scholarships that we send out every year. So super supportive, and we really appreciate. But you know, I think Melissa had it on one of the slides, 235,000 was what, and we just sent all that out last week. So that went in the mail last week.
It's actually more than that, I think, now, because we have, remember, we have more money anyway.
Oh, increase, but that was this year's approximate number that we sent out dollar-wise.
And the process for a student to apply for a scholarship, walk us through that process.
Sure. You have to be a graduate of Alleghany High School, and we have an online application now that Melissa created that we have a new campaign trying to make it easy to remember for kids. So we're going to open that application this year on January 1st, and we plan to do that every year. So January 1st, it will open, and our campaign is called Easy as 1, 2, 3. And the reason we picked 1, 2, 3 is the application is due every year now on January 23rd. So in hopes that they will have some more information in the fall about where they have applied. They may even have information about where they've been accepted if they're going to school to include in their application. So it's an online, like I said, online form, opens January 1st and is due every year January 23rd.
And I might add, that seems like a short amount of time, but the high school has graciously agreed to let us come in the week before that application is due and help students get those turned in and find the information. It's not a complicated application. We try to simplify it and get as much information as we can so donors can look at those applications. But we tried to simplify it and keep things consistent.
Any other questions or comments?
Comments?
Go ahead.
Yes,
Go on.
I'd be interested in mentoring on the military side.
Oh, that's great information, and that is something that we're looking for. So that's great information. We may be looking to you for some advice moving forward with some of this
Give me a
stuff, too.
call, I'm
Okay.
available.
All right.
I just want to say that I'd be willing to mentor too, but I find it real interesting, your Facebook post of kids where they've left here, they've gone on, just to see what some of the students are doing and where they're at now. I mean, it's just amazing that a lot of these kids from this little town have gone off to places all over the world and are working now. So
Yeah, it really gives us chills, really, when you think about how the scope of where our kids are going and the success that they're having.
they just kind of disappear and you never know what happens. So it's very interesting to see that. I encourage everybody to look up your Facebook page and your Instagram.
Thank you.
Yes. if that thing works or not, but I just want to say that I don't know any county, small counties in our state that does what you guys do. I mean, this Education Foundation has just been out of this world. I don't think a lot of people realize, in my own experience, when I was a kid and trying to possibly go to college, my parents didn't have money to do that. So it's given the opportunity, just like you said, 80-some students this year out of 100. How many that graduated?
93, 4.
So 90%, they have an opportunity to go extend their education, and I can't say enough about how much, and thank you all, what you all do now, and you would have never thought that, like you said, there would be that many people coming in to have a full-time office, so it's been really good, so I just want to thank you, y'all, what you do, because it's incredible.
Thank you.
Any comments?
I appreciate what y'all do. If you got any of them wanting to get in the automotive side, I can get them a scholarship. If they're a senior in high school, I can get them a full scholarship through Ford Motor Company.
Oh, that's great information. We'll be in touch.
Okay.
Any other, Heather or Michael? Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next up would be April Ham, Finance Officer. Different hat.
I'm going to take a hat off.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, your finance report for today, year-to-date revenue, $19,896,819.37. That actually represents 8% over the approved budget. Year-to-date expenditures, $17,566,817.12. That represents 95% of the approved budget. And then the approved budget, this is fiscal year 22-23. So I'm presenting June 30th numbers, okay? Because we haven't closed all this out yet. So the approved budget for fiscal year 22-23 was $18,412,892. The bank balance as of today, $395.07 in the checking account, and we have $5,164,572.23 in the public savings account, for a total of $17,787,967.30. And then you have the bank balances a year ago and 2 years ago. They're represented. So our net financials as of right now, $2,330,002.25, which is about $30,000 more than the last report. But I will tell the board, we just received the sales tax today from May, so that is not represented in these numbers either. So just let you know that. So any questions about that part of the report?
Questions?
Okay. Okay, your second page, this is just a report of the sales tax that has been collected for fiscal year 23, and then I put a notation at the bottom of what was received today with each portion of these articles. So the local option, we will be adding $116,372.58, and then the additional quarter cents, an additional $32,570.89, which is what was received today but has not been posted. So I'll have more final numbers for you next month. Any questions?
Questions? Thank you. Comments, Mr. Carter?
I always like to try to put April on the spot when I can. So for the net financials, which are identified as 2.330,002.25. This is the first accounting for the end of the previous fiscal year numbers, without any adjustments. So compared to last year's numbers, would be the difference?
The estimate of how I think it's going to end, we're probably going to have about 300,000 to 400,000 more in revenue posted to that.
These numbers are in addition to the recognized numbers last year.
Correct.
That's important to know.
Very important. I think it's very good news.
Continued good news.
Yes. Any other comments or questions?
No.
I'd like to thank April and the Finance Department and County Manager for all they do to keep us on track and keep us out of the poorhouse. I think they're doing a great job. Thank you all. Next will be item 4, David Spicer, facilities update.
Mr. Chairman, Board, good morning. Thank you, as always, for the opportunity to come to bring you an update on our facilities. To start with, we'll look at administration building. There's some things that will need to go on here and things that's going to happen here. We're looking at redoing the flooring upstairs on the upper level. We're also in the budget. The numbers are there for the replacement of some of our walkways and things that have become disrepaired around the building, so that is fixing to start hopefully this week. So we've got some things there that's very good that's going to be going on. After the concrete is replaced, then the lower level parking lot will be resurfaced, or it'll actually be tore out and redone. So that'll be much better. The transfer facility, the temporary tipping floor is complete. So we did get the invoice for that, and that is done and ready to be used. The pad for the compactor that we received a grant for, that has been poured. So as soon as the compactor arrives, we'll be adding that, and that's the compactor for the cardboard, so that we can hopefully add to the weight of the loads that we take down to North Wilkesboro. So we had a load of commingle, which yielded 3.91 tons, 2 loads of cardboard at 4.06 tons, 1 load of scrap metal at 3.17 tons, that brought back into the county $639.90. So hopefully we will be getting an estimate on the tipping floor itself. Quorum Construction has an engineer working on that now, so hopefully we'll be getting some numbers in for that shortly. 90 South Main, it's looking good. We have had just a few holdups on that. That's as the little girl on the commercial says, it's a supply chain issue. So, but we have got some things that has come in. The windows are in the hands of the subcontractors. So the facing on the windows has been installed. They're installing now the strips on the outside of the wall, so that the metal, as soon as it arrives, can be installed. So preparations is being made for those things to be accomplished. They are holding off on doing the pavement just now, as they are going to be running the lifts and things around on the pavement to install the metal and the windows, so we don't want to tear the pavement up. So that'll be one of the last things that's done, so that it'll be really nice when we open that facility back up. The wall in the soil and water hopefully will be done this week, and we will be getting the flooring down there. So as things progress, and hopefully we'll have all these things come together probably at the same time, and then be able to move people back in very shortly. So we're looking forward to that. We've had a few things that's went on over at the college and the BDC, some light fixtures and things that have been repaired. We still have not received the skylight that has been leaking. However, we have the leak stopped for now, so it's not damaging the building, but we are looking for that skylight to show up hopefully before long. I reported last month that the new ambulance was all but ready. It is now sitting in the base, so we do have the new ambulance. We are working on getting a radio. It's already stocked. We've got a few odd and end things that we'll have to put on it that are taking time to get. So as soon as we can get that thing inspected, we'll have it on the road and running calls. The new DSS building, they're in that building now. So I reported last month that we had a work day over there, and I thanked everybody for coming, and I really appreciate that. That made it a lot easier for us to be able to get those folks integrated into that building, so they are now there and working. The fairgrounds work day, we had a work day there at the fire training grounds this past Friday. I'd like to thank everyone that came and helped with that. There was a lot of work that went on there that day. Mr. Carter was there. Unfortunately, I was only there for a short period of time, but Mr. Carter was there most all the entire day, and there was a lot of work that went on there at the fire training facility. The horse barn is gone, so that has been taken care of. We have some other things and work that's been going on at the fairgrounds. The Fiddlers Convention's coming up, I think, this coming weekend. So there's preparations going on for all of those things. We had a little problem with water at the show barn, and that has been since fixed. So all those things is up and going, and we'll make preparations to accommodate anything that needs to be taken care of. Hopefully nothing will go wrong in the Fiddlers Convention. There's been some receptacles replaced and things upgraded and things to be yet done, I'm sure, but we'll try to accommodate anything that needs to be taken care of there. The courthouse, I would like to, inform you. We don't know how, we don't know where it came from, but it seems that someone has busted a window in the courtroom with a golf ball. So I want you to be aware of that. We are looking into that. They have the golf ball there at the courthouse and the clerk's office. So like I said, I don't know where it come from or why, but that's something that happened. We do have also another, in the torrential rain that we have one of the windows in the clerk's office that is leaking. We have had our designer, our engineering firm, and our contractor that is working on 90 South Main go and look at these windows. Hopefully we're going to take a couple of them out so that we can make arrangements to have everything ready, so that when we do start that project, that we will be able to progress with it as rapidly as possible. So just to inform you and let you know those things has taken place. So in animal control, this month we had 106 hours. We've had 72 calls, 827 miles driven. We had 6 assists in the sheriff's department. We've had 2 dogs in livestock. We've had 2 well checks to do, 19 dogs and cats and/or cats picked up. We've had 10 running at large. Some of those we could not find when we got there, but we had animals running at large. 3 attacks and 3 quarantined. So 27 traps was set, and that yielded 19. So we have been working diligently trying to uphold our ordinance. So if you have any questions, certainly I'll be glad to try to answer those.
Questions, John?
What's the status on the animals that are involved with the court case? Are they still in the pound?
They are. They are still there. That court case is supposed to come back up in August.
Do we have any idea of what we're looking at right now? 14,000, 15,000?
14 or 15. It was over 13,000 more than a month ago, so it's climbing. There's been a lot of animals taken into the animal shelter here recently, like 29 last month, so it's been quite busy out there.
And, as I said in the past, whenever the economy starts turning down, people are going to abandon animals.
Yeah, and
when they've got to make a decision of feeding animals or children, the animals are going to be left out there being abandoned.
We've been picking up more stray animals than in the past. Last month, we picked up more stray, especially cats. There's been a lot of cats, but
Are you still having a problem with the anonymous phone callers calling in complaints?
yes,
Just for the edification of the public, people are calling in because they've got a problem with their neighbor, so they're trying to make their neighbor's life miserable by calling in animal cruelty charge on their neighbors, which these gentlemen have got to go out and investigate. And often it involves the sheriff's department because they've got to go out with them. You haven't got enough guts to use your name, but you tie up county resources that you will eventually pay for, because now we have reached a point, I believe, where next year's budget, we're going to be looking at an animal control officer. 106 hours. That is 106 hours that are removed from the maintenance department because your personnel are going out and chasing down these calls.
yes.
Responsible. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Michelle, Timmy, Greg? Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We do have one other court case coming up the 1st of August that I got a subpoena for day before yesterday, or end of last week, so.
Can you give us some information on what it involves, cattle?
It involves two neighbors. One's animals barks and keeps the other neighbors irritated, I guess, is the best way I can put that.
Would you make sure that you keep track of your court hours and include it in your report, please?
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Carter?
David, before you leave,
Yes, sir.
you at a previous meeting had talked about the installation of the stop arm
Yes, sir.
at the scale house,
Yes, sir.
and was just curious, now we're a month or so into that, how is that working out?
When we have available personnel, the stop arm works really well. And people have started slowing down when they come across the scale. I think expecting that arm to come down in front of them, which that's not a bad thing. But occasionally the arm is up when we have personnel doing other things and we don't have someone in the scale house, or maybe we have someone in the scale house but they're running tickets for loads that have come in and or making out a deposit that is to be brought in. So occasionally the arm is up and not in use. Hopefully with the implementation of an additional employee there, that should be reduced quite a bit. So we're hoping that we can keep that going and have that in place as we need to, and you know, we have made a lot of progress at the transfer facility with the stop arm being available to us, in having people understand that they need their solid waste stickers, and having people understand that just because it's a transfer facility, we may not be permitted to take, we're only permitted to take garbage that comes from Alleghany County. So that has helped us quite a bit. So hopefully we'll be able to satisfy the inspector, and all those things will come together and everything will be good. And with the implementation of the additional employee, I think it will help in that stop arm being in use more often. But it has made a difference.
And that's the reason I bring it up, is I understand that perhaps later this week, we do have an applicant pool for that position.
Yes, sir.
And I believe, if I remember correctly, maybe interviews happening later this week, so.
Yes, or the first of next week, we're looking in at our schedules.
So possibly within the next 30 days, we should hopefully have the available staff and, you know, bring that plan together.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do our very best.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay.
Tremendous amount on your shoulders. Thank you for what you do.
Okay, now we move to Section C, general business. These items are for information. Soil and water education update. Chelsea Bobbitt, you're up.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Board. I'm just here to give an update on all the exciting things going on at Soil and Water. We just sent 2 students and myself to NC State for resource conservation workshop, which happened about 3 weeks ago. 2 rising seniors that were interested in natural resources or agriculture in some sort of way. During that week, I spent time with 8 other girls from all over the state as their counselor. The other 2 girls had a different counselor and got to meet new people. During that time, we visited all the stuff at NC State, different soil and water offices, the research farms, the test farms, all that stuff. The most exciting part of the week, Kaylee Wagner, Candace Wagner's daughter, received a $1,000 scholarship from District Employees Association, so we're really excited for her. She'll get to use that at her choice of school next year. Also, an update on our community garden. I just donated our first 10 pounds of produce to the food closet. I will continue to do that, and it is open to the public. We have cucumbers, tomatoes, squash, zucchini, cabbage, and broccoli will be coming on soon. So that's a new project this year that we've done, and I'm very excited about it. So that's my update. Any questions?
Questions or comments?
No. Yes.
Go ahead, Tim.
Where is the community garden?
So if you go to Krause Park and the creek there, it's on the other side of the fence. We have a sign up and they're in red tubs.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you. We've been reading about it in the papers, and thank you for all that you do. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Looks like April Ham's back in business.
Put on another hat now. During the budget process for the current year budget, 23-24, we had multiple conversations about how we could possibly improve benefits and improve benefits for different groups of employees that we have on staff now, whether that be a new hire, that's only been here a couple of years, but maybe someone that's been here 20, 25 years, how to increase or improve benefits for these folks. One of the conversations that we had was possibly continuing life insurance coverage for retirees. I could not get a quote on that life insurance at the time because they wanted 3 upcoming retirees. They basically wanted a census of what our retirees were going to look like before we could get that quote. So we've gathered all that information. We know who the next 3 retirees are. And the quote came back 60 cents per $1,000 of coverage. There's no limitations. It's not going to terminate at a certain age, which I think is a wonderful benefit. So we could continue that life insurance coverage for our retirees. So I'm putting this out for information now, but for the board to consider at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Can I answer any questions?
Questions, comments? Mr. Carter? Thank you, April. BDC official letter notice. Michael?
Sir, included in your packet on page 52 is the letter from the Blue Ridge Business Development Center. We've talked about this for some time now, but this is the official letter that they have sent to the county indicating that they will basically not renew the current agreement. By doing so, as we have discussed, that would turn the oversight and operations of the BDC over to the county. I mentioned at a previous meeting that I have met with Commissioner Michelle Uffman and Kate Irwin. I believe they have been tapped as a committee to assist in this transition. We've had one meeting. We have talked about having a second meeting after today's board meeting at some point, and I believe coinciding with the BDC board meeting at some point. So, in anticipation, I believe, of an October 1 date, we have what I would call the preliminary discussions. We're getting back together to talk about the current agreements that tenants have, dive more into the operations. There's a number of things that we need to do. I know that I am also slated to provide this board with a plan, I believe, at your September work session. So I feel comfortable that I can put that together for, I guess, presentation and discussion. But the wheels are moving on this, so I guess that's what I have. If there are any questions or comments, and I don't want to put Commissioner Michelle on the spot, but she's on that committee. One of the two of us could probably address that.
Questions?
Yes.
John, go ahead.
Have we determined if we're going to have to set up an enterprise or separate function whenever the county assumes?
Our attorney says not at this point.
Okay.
Let me pull her microphone down for her so she feels comfortable talking.
Maybe she doesn't want to be on the record.
Well, we haven't explored it yet. I think there was still some question about how this was going to be handled, so that is something that we will need to know. So I'm confident that when a plan is presented in September, we'll have all that information, and whatever we need to do in order to pursue it, we'll be prepared for that. It won't surprise us. We'll know exactly what we need, so it'll be part of the plan that's presented.
Note that there's no discussion about the funds that have built up. You have any information on that?
I have this is information I was provided at the meeting, but the number that I have at this point is a balance of $163,379, and that was as of 6/29.
And that is theirs. We cannot touch it. We cannot do anything with it. If I remember my business law, and it's been over 50 years since I was in a business law class, and it will probably impress my professor that I remember this much, but they're a legal entity. They can do what they want. Correct, ma'am? If they want to take that money and go to Las Vegas, that's it. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. All the questions I have.
Comments? Michelle, go ahead.
We don't have any plans to go to Las Vegas, but we do have some plans. We had been working with Wilkes Community College and a security firm on, firming up security for that building because, the library has a broken door. They need some security there. Wilkes has security issues. If there needed to be a lockdown or something like that, there's pretty much no capacity to make that happen. And we also wanted to make the area between the offices of the BDC and Wilkes. So looking at tapping those funds to provide that security that building needs.
Jimmy, questions, comments?
So basically, the plan is to use some of that money to put back.
Yes.
That's, say the BDC or 501c. They could, so their plans is to stick with doing stuff for that building, but they could go and spend that money for other things with business development.
Greg?
Being that's a county building, if they want to spend some money on it, won't they give the money to the county and the county let them do it?
I think that we mentioned at one of our last meetings maybe 2 meetings ago, about a long-range contract with Wilkes Community College and the BDC building, where the community college system would take over some of the repairs or upgrades at the college if we could come to an agreement. I would suggest to the BDC board that they would be in contact with Wilkes Community, with the interim president, and also with Dr. Cox, who's now president of all the community college systems, before we spend that money, just in case the community college system would provide some finances. I know from serving on that board for many years that the state does provide Wilkes with a large amount of security money. It goes to every college. And how Wilkes chooses to spend that money is up to the home campus. So, I mean, if we could use that money someplace else, that might be a benefit, but I think it's worth at least checking into before we go much further.
We are. We're involved with the security director at Wilkes right now, and I believe that the provider is, his last name is Call, Scotty Call,
Gotta
maybe?
go.
And he's worked with Wilkes. We're doing that.
Okay.
And they do have recommendations. Now, I haven't shared that, but they do have a list of recommendations that they're trying to, funnel down and understand a little better, so.
Well, I think the whole board looks forward to your future reports and recommendations.
As am I, Mr. Chairman.
Magic one.
As am I.
Anything else on that? Any other comments or questions? Thank you. Okay. Looks like item number 4, law enforcement upgrades. Shane Glenn, he is the new chief deputy. Good morning.
Morning, congratulations,
Thanks, sir.
or commiserations.
Maybe congratulations.
Yes, we'll see. Thanks for allowing me on the agenda today so we can discuss our current situation with our body-worn cameras. Over the last several months, we've had 5 of them to go down. We've tried to send them to Axon, which is the provider. They say that they're obsolete. They no longer work or repair on the cameras that we're currently using. Those cameras mostly were bought in 2017. I think we were a 4-year contract. Yes, point of view cameras. That was the new cool thing in 2017. Now, of course, 2023, they're obsolete. We have shopped around a little bit to try to see if there was any other vendors that were comparable. One of the issues that we run into is we're still going to have to pay for storage with Axon. So the evidence that we've got to keep on retention, we're still going to have to pay for. So we're kind of tied in with them, which is fine. Staff's used to using evidence.com. They're familiar with the system. The quote that I received from them, we would have to pay roughly $6,000 for storage coming 9/1, I believe. So we would have funds there if the board would allow us to do the contract to pay for year 1. Any questions?
Go ahead, John.
Is there money in your budget? Did you anticipate this?
Well, no, but with the storage, there was
Right.
6,000 allotted that we wouldn't have to spend. So yeah, we would have the funds there to cover this for year one.
Problem?
Mr. Carter?
We've had that discussion, and today, obviously, is just to alert the board and provide the information, but there are funds available in the current budget to address this. It wasn't the intent when the budget was adopted, because obviously now we've been alerted to a different scenario. But same process, same ability, upgrade to the system, recommendation from the sheriff's department, there's no issues with the budget.
If
And
I may, Mr. Chair,
This will be an item for your next agenda.
I do have an issue. Vendor knows the product that he has supplied the county. Now, this is the second time that we've had a vendor come to the county and say it is obsolete. We can't work on it. We should have known this last year. He should have notified you or the sheriff's department that this equipment is coming obsolete and is going to need to be replaced. To me, that having been a salesman to police departments, that's not what I call customer service.
Right.
So please express to them that we expect whenever this equipment starts to go obsolete, that we have timely notification so that we can start to take it into account with the budget.
Yes, sir.
Now, granted, we are tied to them. It's a Siamese twin because they've got all the back evidence that is they're providing the storage for. But I agree, you need an upgrade. And I'll remind the citizens, I believe last year we had a suicide by cop. I called it a suicide by cop. I don't know what the final investigation was, but to me it sounded like suicide by cop. The one thing that saves this department is that body camera. Unfortunately, it has become a necessity. You don't know what these men go through. You ever watch cops on TV? Whenever a cop goes up to a car, you ever wonder why he presses it, his hand on a location? Each department has a location where a cop will press his hand so that if he gets a face full of a 12 gauge and they find the vehicle later, they know where to go look for his fingerprints to confirm it. I'll support you.
Appreciate that.
You need it.
Commissioner Irwin.
But please let them know, and if you don't want to do it, if you'll give me a call next time he shows up in your office, I'll be glad to tell him what I think of it.
Yes, sir.
Shell, any other comments, anything? Thank you. Like Mr. Carter said, this is for information. There'll be no budget change. We'll have to look at this for next year.
No, next meeting.
Next meeting.
Next meeting.
Yeah. No, I mean for the budget.
Oh,
For our continual budget for all your upgrades or whatever you need. But it's like Commissioner John said, it's sort of disheartening, these companies, it's obsolete and they're just selling something else, but
I agree.
we got no choice. Thank you.
Thank you.
The law enforcement was done. Item 5, Michael Carter, Secoop.
Members of the board, each year we adopt the court's continuation of operations plan. And today you have before you for information for your next meeting to consider your Secoop plan. And in working with our new Clerk West, I know that in the past Secoop plan, we have a list of alternative sites for the courtroom should something happen. And the one thing that I want to bring attention to in this plan is page 70 and page 71. And what pages 70 and 71 identify as the tertiary site for the courtroom, should we need it, is no longer the black building. It is now the boardroom, which we sit in. And that is a discussion that we had and recommended. So we now have that incorporated into the plan. This plan will be on your agenda at your next meeting for adoption, but that is taken care of. The rest of it remains the same with a few changes in individuals' names and contacts, but the plan is intact.
Any questions? I just suggest to the board, be sure we read through this document and understand what the changes are. You never think we're going to need it, but it's possible, so we need to be prepared. That concludes general business for information, and we'll move on to Section D, general business for action, and we go straight to item number 2. And there again, it's Ms. April Ham.
You have our first budget amendment for fiscal year 23-24. This is actually to budget for the third-party billing contract with EMS, but we're going to do that with additional revenues. The revenues have come in higher, and I have included a report. This is for fiscal year 22-23 revenue. But you can see we projected $398,000. It has come in at $521,780.63. So we just need to budget for that additional revenue to come in to budget for that third-party contract.
Questions, comments? Need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Second.
You got a motion by John and Timmy, second. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries 5-0. Continue.
The next thing I have is just a line item transfer to cover some equipment cost for, it should be for EMS. It is for EMS, I'm sorry. Just to cover equipment costs for EMS. And out of $1,149.
Questions and comments? If not, I need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve the line item transfer.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Did you get it, Timmy and Michelle? All those in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed likewise? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Appalachian Health opioid grant. Lindsay, are you back there?
Morning.
Alrighty. Thanks for having me. So last time we spoke with you, Jen was here, and we shared updates from our request for proposals process for the opioid settlement funds. And I'll just review that with you really quickly. We can move to slide 2. So prior to proposals being due, we had hosted an informational webinar around the request for proposals. We ended up receiving only one proposal, and that was from App Healthcare. I'll share those details again here shortly, but I did want to acknowledge that that was for the full amount approved to award, and we've mentioned that we've got some ideas on how we can re-engage other partners. But first I'll review a little bit about the proposal. So this focused on a mobile health bus which would travel to remote areas as well as central locations in the county. There's some rough specs here in the slides, but the model is looking at a 38-foot converted recreational vehicle with 2 exam rooms, along with a waiting area, lab area, full bathroom, fridge, and freezer. Bus will be handicap accessible, has all the needed hookups along with Wi-Fi capabilities. There's also an onboard generator and water tank. Range of medical, dental, behavioral health services will be provided on the bus, such as substance use screening, depression screening, BMI and blood pressure assessments, specimen sampling, vaccination. We'll also have patient education and resources provided. We'll incorporate addiction treatment, peer support, and other recovery support services to ensure it's wraparound care for folks who are impacted by opioid use disorder. Okay. So we've established some measures that will help us to guide the work. So these include number of folks we're serving on the bus, naloxone kits distributed for overdose reversal, post-visit surveys and testimonials, number of individuals referred to treatment, as well as who was engaged after those referrals were made. Did they go through? And demographics of folks who are accessing services. And with us not receiving additional proposals, we did want to provide a revised breakdown for the payments. So these funds would include the $10,000 committed matching funds for the Vital Strategies grant, thanks to y'all's support. It would be a revised amount of $100,000 for the mobile bus project, and the goal there being to have that $8,178 remainder for some strategic planning. So that's where we're wanting to re-engage the partners who didn't apply for these funds and see if there's a way for us to have some collaborative projects moving forward. We know that there were a number of agencies who were engaged before the request for proposals went out, so just re-engaging them, seeing what their barriers were and how we can do more together. And if you all feel comfortable moving forward, this would be our tentative timeline. We would work with the county to complete and submit to NCDHHS the required budget or resolution authorizing expenditure. We would initiate the project along with that data tracking for success. We would also initiate coordination and partner engagement for that collaborative strategic planning piece to begin in the fall. And then, of course, developments from strategic planning would be brought back to you all, including any thoughts for funding future projects beyond this year. What questions do you all have?
Questions, comments? And when do you plan on being up and driving down the road?
I can tell you, I found this out the other day. Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's 138 days for us to receive the bus once we are prepared to purchase it. So as soon as we can get that order in and get moving, we'll be ready.
Probably sometime after the first of the year.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments, Mr. Carter? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, we need, this item's on for action, so we need a motion in a second.
Make a motion that we approve.
Second. Got a motion by Michelle, John second, to accept. Any further discussion, questions? All those in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed likewise? Motion carries. You got it.
Thank you. Appreciate
You're welcome.
y'all.
Scrap tires, David Spicer.
So, again, Mr. Chairman and Board, thank you for having me here. We put out an RFP for scrap tire transportation a few weeks back. We did get in only one scrap tire bid for that. That was from Laja Freight, L-A-J-A Freight LLC. This bid was for $7 per mile, mileage 286 miles at $2,002. We, as the county, recommend that we reject this bid.
Did you reject it?
Yes.
Comments or questions? Mr. Carter?
Concur.
We have a motion to reject this bid. That is scrap tire RFP responses.
Make a motion that we reject the bid and that we resubmit an RFP.
Second.
Greg, second, got it? Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed likewise? Motion carries 5-0.
I'll get a new RFP.
Thank you,
Thank you.
David.
$7 a mile.
Let's see, fuel oil bids. Michael Carter.
Inside your board packet, pages 94 to 96 include the RFP for the fuel oil bids and the schedule, and the last page on 96, we received one submittal from Hometown Oil, and see the cost associated with that. We'll remind the board that this is also crisis fuel for DSS. So it is something that we need to get in line and get in order. So I would recommend to award this proposal to Hometown Oil for the submitted price.
Just a question, I think, for Heather. We're a small community, small town. There are some of us that do business with Hometown. Is that in any way reflect us voting?
There was that ordinance or law that was passed, but it got waived for small communities. So we're not subject to what that says, which is because we're so small, committees and other things that we're doing or you're doing as commissioners, they're not to be looked at in a negative light where you would have to remove yourself from use or, participation. So I don't think that's a problem, and we're not subject to that regulation. I mean, obviously, if the board felt that there was a problem and you needed to disclose that, then I think that would be appropriate, but there's not any kind of violation that we're under because there might be joint use of services here in this community.
I just want to be sure that the minutes reflect that answer. Mr. Carter?
Only to add to that, I think Heather would concur, unless you as a board of a commissioner member are receiving some type of payment or some type of structured fee from the group. I think that's what the conflict of interest would amount to.
Thank you. Any questions or comments about the bid? We have a recommendation by the county manager. I need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve the contract for home heating oil.
Second.
We have a motion by Timmy, second by Greg. All those in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Let's see, we're going to have a little going ahead with your comments next, right?
We've got another bid.
Roofing bid.
You got the roof.
Oh, the roofing, I'm sorry, go ahead. That's you.
Your second item is, as the board is aware, we had put out an RFP for the roof for 90 South Main. And we chose to do this internally as opposed to involving our engineer architecture firm. We did that, and we received 2 back, and if I'm on my right page, they are on pages 97 and through 99. The low bid for the roof was submitted by Professional Roofing Services, and the base was in the amount of $25,250, and they had an additional $3,909 to remove the wooden siding, fascia, shingles on the dormer, install all that. So we have spoken with our general contractor. They have done several jobs with this company. They understand how they work. I have spoke with the individual with Professional Roofing about the schedule, because that's a concern. He indicated to me that they are about 2 weeks out. So if we were to award this proposal today, you're looking probably sometime early August, which coincides great with our general contractor because they have to tie in and relap. So I would recommend the board award the bid to include the additional $3,909, which is a total of $29,159 to Professional Roofing Services for the replacement roof on 90 South Main.
I've heard the recommendation by the county manager. Is there any discussion, questions? If not, I need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Who was the second? John? Greg made the motion, John second. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Likewise for opposed. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, now, that concludes for action. Now, today, we're going to have 2 or 3 different little things happen. We're going to visit DSS, and then we're going to reconvene and have a work session. Go ahead and explain what we're doing.
Okay, that's scary. So what I thought the plan was to have the work session begin at 12:30, and we are now at the 11:30 mark. I thought we were going to address the agenda items, which we have, with the exception of county manager, county commissioner, and closed session. I'm not certain we can get all that in an hour. I can talk really fast if that helps. So the possibility of concluding this portion of the agenda is a reality. I do not think that you will get your 30-minute break that I think was talked about from 12, I think it was 20 minutes. I think Bobby cut 30 to 20, I believe. But I don't think you'll get your break in, but I do think you can get through this part to the work session, recess, probably get something to eat, then we can meet at DSS, do the walk around, and then you'll have to adjourn your meeting because you will have concluded everything.
Okay, so you want to go ahead with your building inspections, and then I think there's some business for the commissioner's comments.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Well, I will go as quickly. I've made a lot of notes as I was going. So yes, first, you have your building inspection report for June in your packet. I encourage you to look that over. Second, I want to thank April for being here. I know it's already been mentioned, but I certainly want to recognize and appreciate the work she's put in for us today. The third thing is we need to set up a few committee meetings, which we'll get to. I think one is the Recreation Committee. We need to set that, so if you guys can do that, we need to talk about some possibilities that come up with that. I don't know if you want to do it now. While you're thinking, also the Nominating Committee, I think you guys have a couple to consider. So I'll be hitting Michelle twice right here, so I'll give her a
Let me
minute.
look here.
So,
Just give us a minute. This Wednesday? 4 o'clock? What about recreation, this Wednesday, the 19th,
Oh,
at
he's
4
off.
o'clock?
You're off on Wednesday.
I actually will be out the rest of this week, at Wednesday
Whoa.
through Friday,
So we need to do next week.
if that would
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, Wednesday's not good for him. 25th?
I'm good the 24th, the 25th.
24th or 25th? Either one's good with us. 4 o'clock.
About the 24th at 4.
24?
Yep.
Okay.
Nominating.
Who's on that one?
We spoke about those. We got 2 spots we're trying to fill, right?
Yes. Correct. We've already kind of met about
Yeah.
that.
Okay. So
Yeah,
we
so we're
did that.
good.
So you just want to bring that to the
Jen.
board's consideration at the
Yes.
next meeting?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. And the next one is the animal control and, or ordinance, however you want to configure that. But I know that we've talked briefly about anonymous complaints. Heather and I have had some discussion about that. I think we would agree that we probably need to dive back into that and try to find some type of resolution. We talk about the hours, we talk about the number of miles, we talk about a lot of things that David Spicer brings up. I think this is an opportunity to maybe resolve some of that.
I don't have my schedule with me. I will do that by email to all parties concerned. So get the email out, we'll determine the date that is convenient for everyone and set it.
We're talking about that. This anonymous calls about animals. Somebody calls and they don't put a name on that. Is there anything wrong? I mean, you could be running all the time. I'm just wondering if there's something, while you're all discussing that, is somebody calls in anonymous and they're not willing to give their name, then there shouldn't be nobody going checking stuff. That's the way I look at it.
Mr. Chair, if I could give you a little backup on that, backup information. They have had instances where people have called and made an allegation. They have gone out to investigate, and the individual is sitting across the road watching them, filming them. They will not put their name to it. That is one of the questions that we have posed to the School of Government, I believe. Do we have to respond? The problem is, if we don't respond, we may get sued if something comes up on this. So it's a devil if we do, it's a devil if we don't. It's just like the money that we're paying for that court case. That's part of government. There's nothing we can do. Our hands are tied. Now, it has been suggested that our way out is drop the case. And if we drop the case, then wipe out the animal ordinance. If you're not going to enforce an ordinance, don't complain about how much it's going to cost. So I don't know. Next thing you know, I guess there'll be 2 women come in with a baby and let us decide who's the mother.
Could I ask a question, Shane? Do you respond to anonymous calls or complaints when somebody calls about anything?
Yeah, generally, we're going to respond. I mean, I think there's just too much liability if you don't, and that's not dealing with, animal complaints. We get tons of anonymous complaints about narcotics information. Now, courts have ruled that anonymous reports don't carry the same weight, so if you're later on trying to get a search warrant or doing some of those things, you don't have the same weight as a person that's gave their name and told you exactly who they are. But yeah, we'll respond to them.
I know that, thank you for that. We waste a lot of time and a lot of money that could be spent on something that's important, instead of just one neighbor's mad at another neighbor or whatever. But, you know, we need to be sure we're on our legal ground when we make a determination if we're going to or not going to respond to anonymous call. Anything else? Committee meeting on that, John? We're just waiting and.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll canvass everyone because this will involve outside agencies that are not here. So I'll canvass by email. We'll come up to a convenient date for everyone, and I'll get it out.
Thank you. Anything else, Mr.? Keep going.
Yes, sir. As a reminder, just for everyone, we now do have extensions on our two improvement funds award from the state. The $200,000 for which was initially for the generator and the transfer station facility. We've almost got those complete, but we do have an extension for that. We also have an extension for the $2 million renovation to the courthouse, and that is now through June 30 of 28. So we're in a good place for that. There was a lot of scrambling and ciphering, but we got that taken care of. David alluded to it. I want to capitalize. We did have a work day this past Friday out at the fire training facility. A very good work day, I will say that. We had a lot of sweat going. We had a lot of equipment going, and if you haven't been by there, you need to go by there, because there's a lot of things that have done that we're working towards. We probably need to have another one at some point to finish it up, but a big improvement to that overall facility. I want to remind everybody of the meeting with the town. I know that well, it is what it is, but that meeting will happen on 31st at 5 o'clock. I will work out the details on the location. I haven't got that yet. Also, Commissioner Bobby, you made a comment earlier about keeping us out of the courthouse, and that's not going to happen because we're diving now into the courthouse project. I actually have a survey team coming this week to complete the survey. R&D or putting some design work together for us. As I mentioned in a previous meeting, the goal is to have that project completed by fall of next year. So that project is beginning to ramp up and take off. So we will be in that courthouse quite a bit. And I think that's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to go to commissioner comments.
Yes, sir.
John, start with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One of the things that I've been asked, and I've been bringing up, seems like constantly over the 6.5 years, is 501c3s. Whenever you go back and you look at the history of the 501c3s, and I'm looking at two in particular, whenever you set up a 501c3 that the county commissioners could take it under their purview through the county manager, what you're doing, you are removing oversight from the commissioners. We lose all control. I remember my business law, it's been about 55 years, but a corporation, 501c3 corporation, is a business entity. What does that mean? It means it can buy property, it can sell property. It is governed by a board of directors. Whenever you look at the two that we're primarily looking at that, in my opinion, the county government should have kept under its wing, you started looking at that, it's set up, they can do what they want, they brought the money in. Classic example is what we're looking at right now. The BDC board, in their minutes from their February the 17th, 2022 meeting, The financial report states that they have $50,000 in community checking and $173,000 in the business IDA. I take it that that was the checking account. Now, they could spend that money any way they want to. The contract that we had with the BDC said that the county would do all the major repairs. We had a electronic equipment room that was not being climatically controlled. It was overheating. Took us 2 years, and the county paid the $5,000 to hook it into the HVAC system that had never been hooked up, but we replaced with a new system. Nothing illegal here. They can do what they want with this money. They do not have to return it back to the county, although Commissioner Luffman advised us in a meeting a couple of months ago that the decision was that they would return the money to the county. That's not a requirement. What I'm doing, I'm telling you that I'm giving you a warning order as citizens of Alleghany County that in the future, watch what you do whenever you set up a government function and turn it over to a 501c3. You look at the board members, you see the same names coming up all over the daggone place. They control it. County manager and town manager were on every one of these. So now you've got two individuals that are picking the board, and guess what? You are not going to pick anybody on the board that doesn't agree with you. They can do what they want. They set it up. They're autonomous. Now, we did take a county manager off of one committee. He didn't even know that he was the chair. Of course, it hadn't met in about 11 years anyway, but I mean, you know, it is what it is. We've got a lot of committees. We've got a lot of things that have been set up. It takes time, and it also requires oversight. We are part-time commissioners. We have lives. We do not get $250 a month as our stipend, plus a meeting. We are not going to spend 40 hours a week looking at the microcosm and the micro-functioning of these committees. But let me tell you, people, you get the government you vote for. You've got to hold us accountable. It is very easy for us to sit back and fluff it off. Now, these these committee members did not do that. The current county commissioners did not do this. This was done many years ago. But there's always a future, we hope. Be ever watchful, hold those county commissioners' feet to the fire. Make sure that we look at the minutia. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Michelle?
Just want to speak up and say thank you to all our volunteers that we have, whether that be, you heard from the food closet, the fire departments, all the people that we have that make this work. If we did not have volunteers, we would be in a sad shape right now because, we've just had a couple of people resign from boards because they are tired of dealing with the flack. I know Ricky Brown just resigned from the chamber board. Brian Edwards has resigned from some boards. I mean, part of it was that he wanted to retire and go travel and do some things. Lisa Bottomley is leaving the Chamber of Commerce. We just need to be very, very appreciative of our volunteers in whatever capacity they are in, because, you look at these towns and cities, they have to pay to get the services that people that are volunteers do for free. So that's all I've got.
Thank you. Thank you. Greg?
I agree with Michelle. We need to take care of our volunteers, but we also need to make sure they're accountable for what tax money they got. It's being spent the right way. As long as I'm in here, people's going to know how their taxes are getting spent.
Thank you. Jimmy?
Yes. I think if we said this every meeting that we did, we probably don't say it enough, but a step further than what Michelle said is, and as I become a member of part of local government, I do, I really appreciate what the county employees do and bring to our county every day. I think a lot of residents don't even know, other than come to the tag office or pay their taxes or stuff, they don't have a clue how many people, David's got helping, doing stuff. And again, I just really appreciate what everybody does to contribute. I know they get paid for their job, but a lot of them probably don't get paid enough. So I just want to thank you guys and just, that, like I said, I think it needs to be said more so than not. So, thanks.
Thank you. Just a real quick few things. Fairgrounds has been mentioned, the Fiddlers Convention's this weekend. I'd just like everybody to, here in the next few days, go by and look and see the improvements that have been made, and especially I'm hoping for a large crowd, and I think we've got some additional parking at the fire training facility. So I would like to thank everybody who participated in that. I have talked to individually the individual commissioners over the last few weeks, and there's a consensus on the board to reinstate John Irwin to some additional committees. He's on 2 right now, and I had given John a list, and he's picked 3 additional committees to be on. It's the High Country RPO Advisory Board, High Country Workforce Development, and the Home and Community Care Block Grants. This will give him a total of 5 committees. That comes out just about to the average of what the other commissioners have, excluding the chairman. The chairman has quite a few other committees that they're basically required to attend. So that consensus comes from the board. Does that consensus still stand? Thank you. John, you've picked those 3, and we thank you for your service. We have to deal with other issues that come before this board at certain times. Some of them we don't like to deal with, but we have to. And with that being said, I will let other commissioners speak. Michelle.
We heard from the public today about Commissioner Walker and his behavior on social media. I've gotten a lot of calls about it. I can't go out in public without someone up in arms about it. And I think that some action should be taken today.
Thank you. Any comments?
I think basically our job it's tough at times, regardless if everything's going smooth or not, but I think sometimes we can probably create a little harder job for ourselves. And this is nothing personal whatsoever. I'm just thinking as a body, we just need to make sure that if there's any way possible that we can help contribute and help these groups, make them stronger, make them better. But this situation is getting to where it's almost, and social media and things, there's a reason I don't get on that and do much of that, because you can get in trouble with that. So, don't have any other choice.
John?
We have a code of conduct that we have reviewed, and one of the things that we have recommended that it be modified is to handle situations like we have right now. Now, I'm not going to comment because I have not read the comments that are on social media that are being brought up today. I have seen a few comments because I've been blocked on a number of sites where I simply cannot do it. But I know that being blindsided is something that just irks me. Allegations have been made. Now, we need to hear the other side. Not perhaps in public because this is a personnel matter, but give the individual an opportunity to present his side. I wasn't given the opportunity, didn't know anything was going on. I suspected it, went to a lawyer, and the lawyer that I went to in West Jefferson said, tough it, $100. Spoke to another lawyer in Boone. That was on the phone. He said the first one was right. Feel that we need a process. If the allegations are made, I have recommended that we set up a process where a complaint could be heard, the individual given the opportunity to give his side of the story, and then make a decision. Granted, this has become a public problem, if you will, but I believe that there is a process that we should establish to take care of it. All I have to say, Mr. Chair.
Greg? This here, we'll discuss in private session.
We can't do that.
Well, then we'll come back out and make a vote on it.
Pardon me?
We'll come out, but look here, if y'all think I'm gonna sit here and be neutered, that ain't gonna happen. The people's gonna know where the taxes get spent and how it's getting wasted. Now, you do what you wanna do, but.
We've checked with council, then we cannot discuss this in private session.
Okay, that's fine, but.
That was talked about.
Okay.
But unfortunately, it's something that does not go in, is covered under closed session.
That's fine, ever how you wanna do it.
Okay.
I'm not like Michelle, I ain't trying to get reelected.
It has nothing to do with reelection. It has everything to do with behaving in a proper and professional manner. It is not about calling our constituency names
I ain't calling
and
nobody no
calling
name.
out, I'm speaking right now,
Okay.
and calling out our volunteers. This is, I have been blown up all weekend about this. This is something that has absolutely ruined my entire weekend because everywhere I've gone, I've heard about it. And it's very, very out of line. You are talking about calling people names, curse names. I've had screenshots sent to me all weekend. I haven't even been on Facebook, but I've seen it all weekend. And we have to act in a professional manner. We cannot be acting like this. What if our fire departments all quit today? We have all volunteer fire departments. Every single person in this county loses our homeowners insurance. These are volunteers who are giving their time. And you heard Chief Higgins say today, we had people sitting in the fire department on standby.
You believe everything you hear?
Just a minute, let Michelle finish.
I'm finished. I'm done.
Let me go, Greg. That I think when you run for public office and you're elected to that office, you become a symbol to the people of the county that you represent. I've thought about this all weekend. When I used to coach softball, I would tell my girls when we go play to Raleigh, when we go play wherever, Murphy, Currituck, wherever, you're representing Alleghany High School. You're representing Alleghany County. You're also representing yourself. And I expect that those girls and all the coaches to be civil to people, to try to put a positive light on Alleghany County. And name-calling, accusations, that is not, in my opinion, putting a good light on a county commissioner, a school board member, whoever's elected. Know that free speech comes into this all the time. But I believe, in my heart, when you're elected, you have to step up to the plate and you have to think about what you're saying. And I just think that some of these comments are not appropriate for a commissioner or for any elected official. There's ways that the commissioners can work around these problems and do it in a civil manner. That's all I've got to say. Greg,
Where's
go
your
ahead.
comments at there? I won't see them.
Go ahead.
Where's your comments you got? I won't see them.
Are you asking me?
I'm talking to Bobby. You said you had the comments, and I want to see what you got.
Comments? I've talked to people on the telephone.
Hearsay's 2020.
It's not hearsay when they call me and
Well,
identify
I know.
themselves.
I could call and tell you
It's
something
not-
myself.
Let me finish, Greg. It's not here, you asked a question,
Okay.
I'm going to answer. It's not hearsay when people show up at a public meeting and make those same comments. So that's where I come
Look,
from.
I understand where you're coming from.
Okay, go ahead, speak.
All right. This fire department has been against me since I got elected. You know that. You know that, man. You had supper up there and said they didn't want me on there. You know good and well they've been against me the whole time. They don't want nobody to tell what's going on, don't want to know how their money's spent or nothing else. You know, me and you had dinner before I even took office, and we sat down and talked about who's going to be chairman and all that, and you said they didn't want me in here.
When we go through the budget process over the last 3 or 4 years, the budget committee has been able to look at and go through every department, every person who gets money. And to this date, we have not found anything that was improper or illegal. This does not, at times you have to take the personal animosity out of a problem. You have to do what's best for the community, what's best for the
100%.
county. And I think that's what commissioners are elected for, to improve things, not to tear them down. And if we don't like the way something's working, then go to those people and try to work it out. Try to work out your differences, to be a positive influence on anything that a commissioner does, not a negative influence. That's all I've got to say. So is there any type of recommendations?
I had a message here about Morgan Reed from the Laurel Springs Fire Department is not happy about it. David White from the Cherry Lane Fire Department is not happy about it. You've heard that Chief Higgins wants, every time they have a training or a meeting, they have to have a deputy.
I have never been to one of the training meetings.
He asked for a deputy to come and protect them. I feel like that there is a personal vendetta that is being waged here in the public view, and it doesn't need to happen. It is not appropriate.
Let me ask the deputy something. Have you ever been called to a training meeting in the county me?
No, sir.
Okay.
I'm going to recommend that we volunteer to be on these boards. I think to diffuse the situation that Greg Walker needs to be taken off as fire commissioner and someone else put on.
That's a recommendation. Is there anybody
Would
else?
you
that-
be willing to take that on?
Yes,
Commission.
sir. They had requested me to start with.
I think for the better of the community, it's that way. And like I said to Greg, it's personal. I just think it's just too much drama going on, and
Well, I won't recommend John Irwin be the fire commissioner.
This is a consensus of the board, or is it a vote? This is a consensus of the board. The consensus that was put forth by Michelle and Timmy first was to remove Greg from the fire commissioners and appoint Michelle to be on that board. Is that the consensus of this board? John?
I will agree to take a little bit of the flammable material away, that a change in the fire commission be made. That is as far as I will go. I think it's a separate item. Once, if it's a consensus that he be removed from the fire commission, then the question becomes on who his replacement will be. I think that's two separate matters and should be considered separately.
I think that the question was presented as one, and that consensus would be to remove Greg and appoint Michelle. Is there any discussion, Greg?
No, that's who they wanted anyway, you know that.
Timmy?
It's in the minutes, and everything else.
I'm good with it.
Pardon me?
I'm good with it.
And I'm good with it.
That's a consensus.
That's the consensus of the board. Is that the proper way to do this? Let me say this. I do not like doing this. It was nothing that this board did. It was an individual. And I would hope, and really, I would be willing to work in any way I can to work with Greg and work with Glade Creek Fire Department to try to heal this animosity, this misunderstanding, whatever it is. But I would certainly offer my services to help in any way that I could.
I don't need no help, Bob.
Well, but I'm offering it.
Well,
Speak, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman. Speaking of accountability, I know, we know we have the budget stuff that we go through with them, and then, of course, but we had the conversation of the audits. Have we begin that process, or is that are they going to just pick a fire department that they do?
I think during the process, we talked about just doing them alphabetically.
Alphabetically.
And that would,
Do that one every year?
that way it's not a pick and choose, it's just alphabetically.
Any other discussion? Do you think we have time for our closed session?
No, sir, I think you're going to get your 20-minute pause.
So we will stand, we will recess till 12:30, where we will meet at the DSS. We're going to meet here.
You have a work session at 12:30
Oh, yeah,
here.
that's right.
Are we
Then
not
go.
going into closed session?
We'll have to do that later. We can't get that information in the 20 minutes. So you'll have to finish your work session, then go into closed session, and then recess to DSS.
Please clear my mind. The reason why we are going into closed session is because we did a public advertisement that we were doing a work session at that time, correct?
Correct.
The advertisement of the work session was at 12:30.
Well, it starts at 12:30. So we've got 20 minutes to be back here.
Yes, sir.
We stand in recess.
We are eating duck today, duck in and duck out.
I didn't even hear
It's not
that.
worth going any
Said we're
place.
eating duck today, duck in and duck out.
Well,